What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the 83rd edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I'm your Jackman Kel.
I'm your tire changer Cam.
And I'm your gas man, Cam.
We've got more of a dirt episode for the dirt racing people. So we're going to talk a little dirt racing. We're going to talk Cup Series at Kansas, break a little news, nominate a Wheelman of the Week, look ahead to what's on the coming schedule, and we'll go from there. So that's kind of the agenda for this episode. But fellas, how have we been? It's been a week now.
Good. Got to have brunch with Ma this morning, obviously, as we record here on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Great weekend otherwise. There was a ton of racing. And as we'll talk about here in a little bit, there's a ton of racing coming up this weekend as well as we get closer and closer to what feels like the biggest weekend of the year racing wise, and that's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good catch, though. If you're seeing this as this comes out, happy Mother's Day to all of the moms. Cannot forget them and their special day. So, good call on that as well. So, no, been good.
Go ahead.
I got to head down to Darlington, open up for the first time this season. So I head down to the support your local short tracks. We don't say it without doing it. So I head down there on Friday night. They had their season opener. So hot lap started at 6:45. They had 6 classes. I was out the door by 9:45.
Nice.
So efficient show. $12 to get in, $3 Busch Lights. Cool little season opener for them. So they're off and running for the year finally. So
About ready to call you boys in. Got the old Pontiac G6, and thankfully I had it parked. But had the old flat right rear on the bad boy, so almost had to call pit crew in, get that thing jacked up. But probably couldn't have jacked it up just based on the frame of that bad boy. She's on her last leg, and had you guys threw the jack up there, she might have been in the floorboard of the back seat. So thankfully it's a slow leak. Because I put some air in it and it's been holding air pretty steadily. So anyways, that's my entertainment. Almost needed the pit crew, and that'll cost me probably $40 to hopefully just do some patchwork on that. But
yep.
Other than that, some good racing all week last week across the board.
Yeah. So speaking of racing, let's go ahead and jump into this. Couple season opener, track opener, all kind of falls in one. FloRacing Night in America gets their season kicked off. And they headed to LaSalle. So kind of a reopening for them. Track's been closed for a while. They revived the place and brought it back. And wow, did that place produce some badass racing. That was quite the event they had there. Troutman led like the first 26 or so. They had a caution. He kind of got caught up on the cushion on that restart, and he kind of fell back. Really, the only other caution was Bronson. He pounded the fence right on the front stretch. And then that last restart, it was single file. And when you have Bobby Pierce starting on the pin on a single file restart, good luck.
Yeah, and I feel like good showing for Bronson until the wall reached out and grabbed him and did some damage to that car. For good showing for him, but I feel like this is just we could probably talk about him every single race. It's just the Bobby Pierce, just the slow, methodical. Well, not all the time is it slow, methodical, but just a Bobby Pierce performance where he just picks them off one at a time, slowly.
Yep.
Goes where they aren't, and then all of a sudden it's like you don't realize where he is until he's got his right front either on the inside of you or his left front on the outside of you, and it's too late to block his lane. So, and then like you said, once the 32 gets out front, you gotta have just an absolute piece to catch him. So,
Yep.
But
That's
good run for Troutman.
Yep. Troutman led a good chunk of laps.
Yeah, good portion of laps for him in that team. So,
that's win number 12 already on the year for Bobby Pierce.
Yep. The other thing with that too is they had a ton of cars.
Yeah.
A lot of guys took advantage of the World Outlaws being off and Lucas Oil running later in the week that they hit on that full week swing. And I mean, there were some when there's big paying races. First off, Flo is paying out $20K a week or a night to start with. And obviously that led up to FALS, which we'll touch on here in a bit, but the Fairbury race at the end of the week.
Yep.
I mean, just talk about everybody just traveling with each other, essentially.
Yep. That, and it's kind of a cool deal with Flo having there's 10 events, but they take your 8 best.
Yep.
Figure your point. So if you have a bad night at one of these places, it's your get out of jail free card type of thing where that could be your throwaway night. Or if you miss an event, that can be your throwaway in terms of that part of it too. So, but yeah, LaSalle, that place produced. And what a hell of a way to open the track. Bring in that field of race cars and that caliber of guys to come in and just, we're back. So
I think that was a video too. Cool setup. I'm pretty sure it was that track. Cool setup with I think it was the backstretch, the bleachers that you could turn around and you could look, and then you could see haulers and all the cars parked just the road. So kind of cool setup to be sitting on the backstretch and not only got racing on one side of you, but to turn around and you got all the haulers and cars in pit road right behind you and just the road. So cool setup. And yeah, like you said, good to have tracks opening up instead of the other alternative.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
I was gonna say, to touch on those other two Castrol Floor races, Spoon River Speedway and Lincoln Speedway. It's with that bigger field, you're gonna have a real different contender winners with Davenport and Devin Moran getting wins on the year as well. Focusing on Devin Moran one, obviously he had a hell of a year last year. Is he on that verge of being a top contender for especially the Lucas Oil Championship this year?
Absolutely. That dude's locked in this year. Winning races, leading laps early. So he's kind of he quietly goes about his business. That's the thing about him, is very quiet and you don't really notice, and then all of a sudden he's there and it's he won the damn thing, So cool. Any final thoughts on LaSalle's reopening before we had to jump into Fairbury?
No.
Cool. Let's go ahead and jump into Lucas Oil series at Fairbury. So I'll kick it to you guys first. Where do you want to start with this one?
I don't know if you guys got to watch it or not, but Brandon Overton started out front, led a good chunk, first little bit of that race. And Davenport took over. Long green flag run. So it was a 60-lap race. We went 49 laps before we even had a caution, which Fairbury is pretty miraculous that they went that far. Between the action that was going on, especially for between second, third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah, second, third, fourth, and fifth. The fight that was going on there, because JD had checked out at that point. But the action that was going on between them guys, right up until that caution, you needed a cigarette. And that comment came from when Donald McIntosh spun. He spun towards like the middle of the front stretch. You see a truck driver sitting on top of the truck, just grab a cigarette, just light it up. Right. It was right smack in the middle of the camera. There was no panning away from it or anything. And the guys kind of went with it. It's like after watching that action, you're gonna need a cigarette after watching that action going on. I don't smoke, but I might have to start.
Yeah, no shit. Oh my God.
But obviously that grouped everybody up, and Davenport not having won there in so many years and being a lead for that one, I'm sure didn't want to see that caution come out. And then him and Shepard just went at it.
Yeah.
Put on a clinic of a race. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but
Yeah.
No, in front, I saw two. I 2 points is one. Just felt like obviously Davenport is top tier driver, but it felt like obviously he's got top tier equipment, but a car on that track, it just felt like he could drive that thing wherever he wanted to. He
yeah,
could run it right around the bottom, around the tires. He could run it through the middle, and he was picking them off which is unlike Jonathan Davenport to go on the top shelf to get that thing to the front. And it just was once he got up there. I know he doesn't have a rear view mirror, but the stick man was doing his job, telling him where to run because he was making that thing 3 lanes wide. But yeah, it was class of the field. And like you said, though, when you win a race like that and at a track like that, you're going to have to go through Brandon Shepard and Bobby Pierce to get that done. And he did that. And solid run that was up there to the inside of Davenport there for a little while was Bruning. Good run for him, finishing fourth. And just love his paint scheme too. The black and gold, sharp looking car. So, no, Fairbury is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that place is tough.
Fun to watch and fun to race on the World Outlaws game. I haven't done in a while.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Fairbury, I mean, when you look at the guys that JD had to hold off, you're talking guys that are really good there, particularly Shepard and Pierce both. Historically have been damn good. So good to see JD back atop the podium again.
I was going to say, too, the second point that I didn't finish is I don't want to lose the PG, but on where did he? Was it Spoon River that he went a little belt to to win that race, and then he does it again on Saturday night. Like,
yep,
we know how quickly you can turn a season on its head, and when he ticks off two of them the way he did this week, like
look out.
everybody else better be trying to get a step ahead because if not, this could be the stretch of misery for the rest of the field.
Absolutely.
Shepard gave him a ran for his money, though. He fell back at the beginning of the race, fell back to 8th before he kind of started picking him off. You want to talk about riding the boards on the outside of the track. I mean, that right rear fender should have been gone basically by the end of that race.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say he used that wall to catch Davenport, slid him going into 3 to take the white flag. Davenport crossed him over, kind of put out a blocking clinic, blocked low, and kind of slid with Shepard in order to secure the win for that one. So they put on a clinic. Shepard respected it. Just two guys that have a ton of respect for each other and done a lot of racing themselves, fighting for the win.
I don't know how accurate it is, but I was gonna say this. And sometimes when I get ripping on the boards there, they like slide it up like almost to the edge of 4, and then they like hit the boards and then they like go. You know what it kind of looks like? Kind of looks like some of those cheaters on iRacing that are racing dirt and they intentionally hit the wall to get, a little extra boost going off the straightaway.
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of sometimes when these guys are running the top shelf. It's like they hit that certain point, right, coming right out of the corner, and then it's all of a sudden it's like down straightaway they go. But yeah, they were. Shepard had a good piece, and like you said, Davenport had that thing. He could make that thing as wide as he needed to.
Absolutely. Well, any final thoughts on Lucas at Fairbury before we touch on the Cup race?
Good race. Obviously, look forward to the PDC later this year.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and jump over to the Cup race at Kansas. So we had both the trucks and the Cup Series at Kansas, but we're going to kind of dial in on the Cup race. So where do we want to start with the storylines of this race today?
Larson doing Larson things,
Yeah.
and hell of a way to, I guess, wrap up the Cup stuff before he does kind of really focuses in on the IndyCar side of things.
Yeah, gave himself a little insurance policy here for the next couple of weeks is basically what he did.
Yeah.
A little bit of, yeah, we're still good. We're gonna be all right for a little while here. Just hang with me.
Yep.
Man, I mean, pretty much flexed on him the whole day. Let's be
Yep.
honest. I mean, at
And
one point I was looking and it was like he had led 113 of 130 some laps or something. Like he hardly didn't lead any there for a little bit. So man, he just put a whooping on the field for a while.
yeah, I mean, also the fact that the runs kind of timed themselves out where right as he was starting to get kind of rough late in the run, he was either right at the pit cycle or caution comes out or it's the end of the stage or whatever
Yeah,
the case may be. So I mean, he had everything going for him essentially.
absolutely. Somebody that had another rough day. The result doesn't show the speed he had, but Brad Keselowski
Yep.
running second, blowing right rear, and that ends his day. I mean, that result doesn't show the speed they had, unfortunately.
Dude, another DNF.
Yeah. His season best finish, I did catch that today. Season best finish this year is 11th. Just
Dude, and
once,
that's the one time he gets, I feel like this is the one time he had speed to actually shit. I mean, I feel like this is the first time he's been on TV for actually racing this year.
right?
First time he made the broadcast for racing purposes, and then he does it. And I'm not sure if the old Fox boys were asleep in the booth or what, but just watching, and he's got that thing plowed up in the wall in one, smoking, and he's almost on the back stretch before they said, "Oh, Brad K's in the wall." I'm like, yeah, he was in the wall going into one, but you guys caught it sooner rather than caught it later. But um, yeah, just and yeah, I don't know what Brad K and Kyle Busch did to racing gods, but they did something because they are.
Yeah.
I feel like they're cursed.
Right side for RFK though, with obviously Keselowski showing speed, and then Priest and Busher both showing speed as well. Especially Priest coming from
Yeah.
P30 all the way up to seventh, and it was fighting up there in the top 2 or 3 there for a little while too.
Yeah.
Made that I know we have talked about him, but had he not had the DNF last week? Was it last week
Yeah,
that he got the DQ?
Yeah.
Dude, this guy is just ripping.
Yeah.
And I'll pose this question to you: is a little? Do you think a little bit of the ownership responsibilities and duties are affecting Brad's on track performance? Do you think
no,
his focus is a little bit? Do you think he gets pulled? He's got other thing as a team owner that he's dealing with that maybe he can't put all his eggs into showing up with a fast car every week and trying to get out a 32nd in points.
My answer is going to be no, because the other cars are showing speed.
I agree, and I just think that with him in the position that he's in, yes, he's the owner. He makes a lot of calls, but he's got people in charge to make a lot of calls within the organization as well, where
Yeah.
he can still focus in on as a driver, be there where he needs to be as a driver. And again, he showed speed today. He's just honestly, he's just got a lot of dumb luck,
Yeah.
is what he's got.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I don't know. I mean, very promising day for them.
Yep.
collectively. Or again, results don't necessarily show it, but that RFK group, like, hats off to them. They brought some fast race cars to the racetrack this weekend.
Yep. Another
So,
guy, since we're on the topic of showing up with speed, Josh Berry coming
yeah,
shotgun on the field.
the 21 flexing a little speed on an intermediate.
Yeah.
I figured he'd be decent. I was thinking like the 8 to 15 range. Oh boy, ran in the top 10 quite a bit.
Yep.
Like consistently was running around that like 4 to 7 range all day. So again, that's another program. Good for them.
Yep.
You know?
And I think him and Priest are the two glaring points of. I feel like you can't always put it on the driver for the for the on track performance, because you look at Josh Berry last year and Priest last year. Sometimes I feel like everybody throws it on like the driver for not performing, but sometimes a change in the crew chief, the team, manufacturer, whatever it is, can make a world of a difference for the driver and the team. Like Wood Brothers, they were, I don't like saying no disrespect, because then the next thing I say, is going to be disrespectful. But Wood Brothers is finally relevant again.
Yeah.
I know they won a race last year, but that was
Luke.
Daytona.
Yeah.
That happens once every time the moon is black, which never happens. So yeah, I don't know. For Barry and Wood Brothers is like, the pairing, whatever they have going on, sometimes the change is for the
Yep.
better. And I just think sometimes you can't be so quick to write people off, because it was pretty easy for everybody last year when Priest wasn't getting invited to driver meetings to write him off and say, this guy sucks.
Yep.
And he comes
Well,
over to
so
RFK in one change with a different team, and that
yeah.
guy is ripping.
And we're talking about your 6th and 7th finishing cars in Josh Berry and Ryan Priest.
Yep.
I did not have that on my bingo card for this year.
If you really want to throw another one in the pot, Chase Briscoe finished 4th.
Very quietly, to be
Very
honest.
quietly, P4.
All of a sudden, he was there.
I heard a interview with him earlier today on the radio saying that this is where they really were going to be able to show their stuff. This is where they felt like the true chess camp comes in with being on the intermediate tracks. He
Yep.
felt like this was the track that if he's going to show his stuff, this was it. And he's run good here in the past with SHR, so he likes Kansas as a driver. But now that
Yep.
he's essentially got the equipment behind him.
Yeah.
And throw those three all in a hat too, and to think we're at what, race 15 of the year?
This was race 12.
Race
Yep.
12. You can still argue that these guys are still getting used to the equipment they're driving with and the teams that they're working with.
Yep.
Like, you make that argument, and they were talking about a little bit on the broadcast too with Briscoe today. Like, he's still learning how JGR builds and prepares their cars and what he's going to show up with. He's still learning how to drive those
Yeah.
JGR cars. And like, for all three of them, like, you can't help but think, dang, like they could, I don't know.
Multiple race winners or multiple wins this season.
And not only that, but you could look at, I don't know, round of 12, and then those three guys, barking at the round of 8.
Yep.
If you really want to look at it, point standings wise here, Briscoe sits 13th, Priest is 16th, and Barry is 17th.
Yep. They're all shaking a stick at it. They're in the ballpark. Let's not get this wrong. Like,
but this is that grind this is where you make your points.
yep. This is that stretch of the season where it can go really good or it can go really bad. and there's really no in between.
Yeah,
I can see somebody that's in 15th that'll race his way out of the playoffs there.
You've got 3 races here coming up that are going to be huge.
Spin house, that is.
You're going to have 3 races that are huge points wise. The Coke 600 at Charlotte, Nashville, and Michigan.
Yep.
Then you got the road course Mexico City. Pocono could be another one. So 4 out of the 5 races, coincidentally enough, 4 of the 5 prime races can be huge points wise.
Yep.
Are we priming it next week?
No.
Nope.
FS1 still has the All-Star race.
Yep. Yeah, because you got to remember they're having the deal with the Cars Tour on Fox.
Oh,
so
got it.
That's everything at Wilkes Pro's on Fox. Yeah. So we get those 3 guys that had really good days. Let's talk about a guy that just had another abysmal week. Kyle Busch. Again, none of his doing. I mean, shouldn't have probably been back there to begin with. But I mean, as he says, clowns. Every single one of them.
And his other saying is, "You race with the squirrels, you're going to get your nuts cracked." Hey, you want to mess around back there with the boys in the back half of the field?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen to you.
He needs to have a conversation with Johnson, figure out where that golden horseshoe went.
Yeah, no kidding. God, it's bad. He's just.
Definition if he didn't have bad luck, he have no luck at all.
Correct.
So yeah, I got while we're on that topic too. And his teammate, the only time he gets himself in the broadcast too is when he's wrecking stuff too. Like
we're going lap down.
That too, fighting for the lucky dog. Where does old RC even like? RC is like, we're not talking about them for their on track product in a positive way. Like,
I don't think anyone is.
So like my question to you guys is, where did they go?
I mean, where do you even start?
I think everybody in the NASCAR world, I shouldn't say everybody, but I would say the vast majority. If he dismissed the driver of the number 3 car, everybody would be like, it's about time.
Okay.
Is that a fair statement?
Well, I mean, performance can justify that if you want to alleviate some of their responsibilities due to sheer performance.
Because my thought would be,
argue that that's justified. Yep.
Do you not think that they could throw Austin Hill in that car next year, and that could be?
Let's put it this
I just feel like there's, if you made either one of them, if you put a different driver in either one of those cars, I feel like he'd get better results than what you're getting right now. And we're talking about a team that was pinnacle racing for championships, winning championships, and this team has become a mudslide.
Since 2023, and including this year, average finish for the driver of the number 3. 21.78, 22.56, 18.42. Had a total of 15 top 10s in what would be, call it 110 races.
Holy Christ. Yikes.
Or sorry, it'd be a little less than 110. It'd be 90 some.
Either way, call it an even 100. You're still not even you're batting just about 10%. Give or take a little.
And then has 2 top 5s in that same stretch.
Yikes.
One of them being that win that he got last year.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you say put somebody else in those cars, let's be honest. It really can't get much worse. I mean, a lot of times you're seeing those cars are running in the high 20s and high 20s near the 30s. Like when you're back to racing with Rick Ware Racing, like, eesh. Again, no disrespect, but
Disrespect them.
I did. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know that. Like you guys said, Buddy is racing. I don't know.
but someone
Maybe
else.
maybe it was the makeup that he had on his Instagram story.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Someone else who struggled today. Very uncharacteristic as this will be a track for them. Tyler Reddick,
Yep.
P17.
2311 just as a whole kind of struggled.
Yeah.
They have had history at it being good, with
Yeah.
obviously Wallace wrecking, Reddick struggling, Herbst just wasn't around, and when Corey Heim in the part-time schedule was your shining car.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially for a track when you talk about Larson being dominant at a place like this, you feel like that goes hand in hand with Reddick as well.
Yep.
So yeah, he was just, to be honest, he was just very middle of the road all day. Like
You're
they just,
welcome. That was my race pick.
yep, they just kind
45
of missed it.
45's been a 45 car's got a couple wins there. Bubba hopped
Yep.
in it and got a win there. Didn't Kurt Busch got one of the OG wins there in a Jordan car.
Yep.
Yep.
Reddick's won it,
But
obviously.
yeah,
Yep.
today was just working your tail off for not much to show for it.
Yeah. Someone who did get the ship righted this week, the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
Finally showing a little speed. You know, we had talked about it last week because they're just not good at all. But he showed speed. He kind of gave Larson a run for his money there at the end of stage 2. Where did he finished 15th? Wow. Felt higher than that. But ran in the top 5 quite a bit, got in traffic and kind of got themselves in a little bit of trouble there. But showed some speed. And then ultimately, we kind of had the cautions breed cautions on restarts. Really,
Yep.
with the way Kansas opens up on the front stretch with the apron, you kind of had to know that restarts were going to be calamity, wild. I guess is that how you would describe it? But once we got going, we just ran to the end basically.
Yep.
So Hocevar had a tire issue late, but did not bring out the caution. So made it down to pit road, which is good to see. So yeah, last question on the Cup Series before I jump into some news. Does that race product today put the track in the conversation for the championship rotation?
I say, I mean,
Today alone, no.
correct.
Okay.
But if you want to look at the body of work of a track, you'd say yes.
Okay.
Because of the product that track can produce, has the potential to produce.
We're looking at upside.
Yep.
I think we're sorry to interrupt you, Van Gogh. I think what you're saying is we're looking at upside. We know we can ramp it up and we can get one of the best racing products in this car.
And
Kind of a roll of the dice a little bit. If when it hits, it's going to be dang good. When it isn't dang good, I mean, you're going to get a day like today, which is still good, but for what this track we know can produce, it's not.
And this track is not coming out of its peak either. It could be at its peak and it's just plateauing for a while, but it's not falling out of its peak.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the temperature going to be like in Kansas in November?
That who knows?
Correct.
It could be in the 60s or 70s. It could be in the 50s.
It'd be nice and
Could
cool and
there
really
be
ripped out.
snow?
I
I
mean,
don't
there's
know.
always a chance of it in the greater Midwest, but
Yeah.
you don't know. It just that's
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I liked the green flag stops. That was the interesting part of me. Guys could flip runs and stay out a lap or too long or short pit and draw the field in. So that part to me, I think when you look at it from a pure racecraft and strategy standpoint, that's the part that I enjoyed today. I seeing guys put tires on a lap or two earlier, coming out and get fuel and try to run long. That part to me was strategy wise was very entertaining. So cool. Any final thoughts on Kansas?
I'm gonna say I was just gonna run the top 10 here real quick.
Yep.
So obviously Kyle Larson won that race, led 221 of the 267 laps, got all the points, including the fast time laps. So he maxed out on points today.
Yep.
Christopher Bell second, Ryan Blaney third, Chase Briscoe fourth, Alex Bowman fifth. Good run for him. Josh Berry sixth, Ryan Priest seventh, Chris Buescher eighth, Joey Logano ninth, and John Hunter Nemechek rounded up top 10.
Yep. For sure. Cool. Cam, any final thoughts
So,
on Kansas?
no, I just looked up weather averages in Kansas for November. Average high 55, average low 37.
Now you got to keep in mind here that we're talking early November for this.
Yeah, true.
Right. First weekend in November.
Correct.
Yep. Just telling you, there'd be a lot of grip. The whole motors would be making a lot of power.
No final thoughts. Like I said, good race, fun race, but we're
Not
greedy. We're greedy, and so we're gonna want, especially when we know what that track can put on for a show. We're, as we always do, we're gonna complain and we want more. But track Kansas is a fun track, just really
yep.
is. So
Cool. Well, we're going to jump in here. We got a little bit of news, pretty quiet this week on the news side of things, but a few kind of close to home for us. Cam, go ahead, fire away.
yeah, this is a big one for me, saving me $40 a year. Slinger Super Speedway joins FloRacing broadcast production on a multi-year deal, bringing not only weekly racing, but the Slinger Nationals to FloRacing. So, um, again, yeah, this is. Calvin and I were texting. I said
Yep.
Christmas in May. So, huge deal for us. Again, this is like the value proposition on FloRacing. Like, FloRacing could email me tomorrow and say, "Hey, your subscription that renews this week is going to be $200," and I'd be like,
Take my money.
"Yeah, the
Yep.
FloRacing value proposition is just it. This thing is up and to the right now." So,
Yep.
yeah, cool news for us. Close to home, and again, I feel like FloRacing is slowly but surely becoming a monopoly of where to watch or streaming for racing, and this is another step in getting a major asphalt event. So big news, not only for Slinger in the first year of new leadership under new ownership, but huge news for Flow as well.
Yeah, so Flo, real quick, Flo's got the Slinger Nationals and then the Slinger Nationals of the South in the Snowball Derby.
Yep. Absolutely. We got two biggest asphalt late model races of the year.
Yep.
So, jumping into some other news, race DRT. So, dirt late model chassis. They kind of did their house car kind of did driver nominations for the dirt late model dream. They opened up and announced that Dylan Thornton will be the driver of that car for the dream. So, they also stated that they are looking at doing the same type of thing for bigger dirt late model events. So I wouldn't be surprised if they turn around and they're doing the same thing for the world as well. So kind of a cool deal there. Coming off of the truck race on Saturday
Hold
night,
on,
go ahead.
did you see some of the names on there? Did you see when he posted the top 50?
Yeah,
Dude, he had some.
Or add them off because I don't know who they are.
Matt Shepard, Emerson Axum, Brent Cruz, Jared Landers, Shannon Babb, Max McLaughlin, JJ Yaley. Um, I don't remember. I don't know a ton of these names. Um,
keep list a few
Trust me,
more off.
Kyle
Emerson Axel is
Steffens,
an interesting name.
Ryan Unziker, Parker Martin, Chase
Yep.
Holland, Trevor Gundaker, Kyle Hammer, Kenny Collins, Cody Evans, Andrew Rayum, Dylan Thornton, Charlie Mefford. Like, dude, he had a wicked
Yeah,
Miles Moose. I mean,
they're top 50 prospects, as they're calling them.
yeah. So that was,
Shannon Babb, Jared Landers,
yeah,
insane. So,
kind of
um,
cool deal actually too. Like,
yeah,
not only that people can throw their name in the hat, but that he posted it and is open about it as he is.
for sure. Coming off the truck race on Saturday night, Lane Riggs DQ from the race, bed cover issues. Did not fully see what the details were of that, but tossed them. See ya.
Uh,
So,
little bit of F1 news here. The McLaren F1 team announced that Pato O'Ward will take part in the free practice one session at the Mexico Grand Prix later this year. He is currently the driver for their IndyCar team as we speak, and there's been a lot of rumors about whether he'll try and make that jump to F1 or not. He'll get at least a chance to hop in the car later this year. And then on another track ownership side of things, a little close to the heart for me on this one, Ryan Blaney has joined the ownership group that is the Sharon Speedway. He will be co-owners with his father, Dave Blaney. I put Dale in here, but it's Dave Blaney and Will Thomas. Basically, his dad came up and said, "Hey, there's this opportunity. You want to do this?" And Blaney said, "Absolutely."
nice.
That's
So
how it went.
pretty much.
Yep. Whoa. What other winners you got for us for the week?
Yeah, so I mentioned that there was a ton of racing. I'm going to try and get through this as fast as I can here. We touched on Casserole with Bobby, Jonathan Davenport, and Devin Moran as winners. High Limit Series, 81 Speedway. The race got canceled there for the Money Mid Series, but later in the week, Rico Abreu won the Kansas City Clash, and then Corey Day won at Tri-City. Rico, there was a little conversation about the win that Rico had threw a tough slider at Madsen in that race. He went out and apologized after that one, but yeah, good race there for them. Arkham Menard Series, Brandon Butterbean Queen gets himself another win on the year. Luke Soyle, Ricky Thornton won at Farmer City. Looking at the World Outlaws, the first night of the Morgan Cup got canceled. Buddy Colfoyd won the Gettysburg Clash at Lincoln Speedway earlier in the week. And then Anthony Macri won the big Morgan Cup night at Williams Grove. The Pennsylvania Posse and the World Outlaws are currently tied so far this year with those two races. Extreme Outlaw Midgets, Jacob Denny goes on a tear. He won both of the races at Humboldt and 81 Speedway. Kyle Cummins also went on a tear this weekend. He won both of the USAC sprint car races. First at Bloomington, then at Tri-State. Let's see. Lucas Oil, we touched about Jonathan Davenport at Fairbury. Carson Holzfar was a truck winner on that one. NTT IndyCar Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. Alex Palou goes back-to-back in that race. Obviously, the last race before we go to the Indy 500. IMSA WeatherTech Series. Team Penske Porsche continues their dominance. This time, the number 6 car wins that one. And then obviously Larson won at Kansas City.
Absolutely. A lot of good racing.
Yep.
All right. Jumping ahead. So we got Wheelman of the Week. I'm gonna hand that out today. We really kind of have 3 nominations for this one, and I feel like there's one that's gonna stick out. First one, Jonathan Davenport leads all 50 to win the FloRacing Night in America Wednesday night at Spoon River for 20 grand, and then wins and holds off Shepherd at Fairbury. Devin Moran also took the belt to the field. He led all 50 at Lincoln for the FloRacing Night in America on Thursday night. And then Larson stinks to show up for the Cup race at Kansas. Votes are in. Nomination says
I got Davenport.
Davenport.
yeah, unanimous. That was my guy for today.
We
So,
2 dominant wins the past week, and then you could argue
Yep.
Thursday, the Saturday night was, I mean, just a loaded field. And then, like we said, to get a dominant win the way he did, go +5 on the night and make that thing 3 lanes wide.
absolutely.
Solid week for him. Getting paid some mucho dinero last week. So
Speaking of FloRacing Night in America, Cam, you want to jump into some race previews?
yeah, let's get rocking and rolling here with some dirt late model stuff coming up this week. FloRacing Night in America goes Tuesday at Marshalltown. Pretty sure it's a nice little bull ring.
Yeah, not too far from here, actually.
Yeah, gonna be action packed. Lucas goes May 15th to the 17th for 3 nights of racing at Eagle Raceway. That'll be good racing for the Lucas Oil Boys. The World Outlaw Gang, they are headed Thursday, May 15th to Raceway 7, and then Friday and Saturday to Marion Center Raceway, and then a little Sunday show at Bedford. So 4 nights of racing for the World Outlaw crew. And then heading down to the southeast corner there, we got the Hunt Front Super Dirt Series on Friday at Sugar Creek Raceway, and then Saturday at Smoky Mountain Speedway. And then lastly, but not least, we got the Mars late models, and they are on Friday night. They will be racing at Quincy and Saturday at Highland. So dirt late model racing is your cup of tea. We got a good week ahead of us for some really good racing across multiple different series. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, continuing on the schedule here. Indy 500 qualifying. I know it's an odd one to talk about qualifying, but qualifying will be this weekend with a lot of practice leading up to it. We'll have a preview of that coming out here this week as well, so be on the lookout for that. We also got a ton of wing sprint racing going on this week as well. Starting with the Woo Gang, as some would say. We're racing up in the land of the Canucks this weekend, actually. We're racing up in Canada. The World Laws are going to be at, I'm going to botch this hard, but I'm going to try it anyway. Weekend Speedway
Osh weekend, yep.
on, let's see, what day is that? Wednesday and Thursday. And then they'll be at Cornwall Motor Speedway on Sunday. Both of those tracks being up in Ontario, Canada. You also got the High Limit Series, and they're all over the place. They're going to be at Kokomo tomorrow, Monday, as we record here on Sunday. They'll be at Fremont on Wednesday. They'll be at Ransomville on Friday, and then they'll be at Utica Rome on Saturday. You also have the IRA Sprint Cars and the Badger Midgets in action. IRA Sprint Cars are going to be racing at Dodge County and Plymouth Dirt Track. And then the Badger Midgets will join RA at Angel Park for their season opener this week as well.
Sunday night, right?
That is Sunday night. Yep.
Sunday afternoon, I should say. But sweet. Looking at your asphalt racing preview. So starting up here with us, Tundra Super Late Models get their season kicked off. They head over to Wisconsin International Raceway for their $6,000 to win show on Saturday the 17th. All-Star Challenge Series. They head to Golden Sands on Friday night. So the Pro Late Models are headed to Golden Sands. Mid-American Stock Cars and Midwest Truck Series, they are headed down to Hawkeye Downs on Friday night. So this coming Friday night, they will be down there for their feature events. ARCA, they head to Flat Rock on Saturday the 17th. Cars Tour Pro and late model stock cars that we mentioned are headed to North Wilkesboro as a part of the All-Star weekend. And then obviously the trucks are there for their race on Saturday the 17th as well.
Add on to that, the modifieds will be at North Wilkesboro as well.
Yep. And then jumping over to the All-Star side of things, qualifying and pit crew challenge will be on Friday. Heat races on Saturday to set the field. And then the All-Star Open and race will be on Sunday after the mods go. So lots of racing around the All-Star race weekend, along with what we kind of talked about in previous episodes. The new qualifying format, the lap number changes, and then this super awesome and gimmicky promoter's caution. So
Dude, I do kind of love I do kind of love the format, the heat races on Saturday night, and then the along with the clash, like the last chance showdown right before I do kind of like that format. It is, I don't know, gives us more racing. It changes it up. Heat races and the last chance race gives you that, short track feel, or true late
gotta
model.
remember, this was the event last year that we had the old Rumble. This was the fight. Stenhouse account. Yeah.
This was, I'm pretty sure, the event last year too, which I was totally good with it when we were pushing off the start of the race for that helicopter to come landing.
Yep.
Yep.
That was last year.
Who will we see in the car to practice for Larson?
Yeah, who's gonna practice that thing?
I know somebody.
Oh,
Rouse. Come on, don't laugh like that.
we'll see. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I would guess they would. I don't know. I would guess Allgaier.
Allgaier, Harvick, Carl Edwards.
Allgaier wouldn't be a bad one with Xfinity being off.
Bruce,
some Cup Series experience. Yeah, I don't know.
Carl Edwards. Let's just stir this up a little bit.
Martin Truex Jr.
Hell, we just saw the guy last weekend. Let's put Mark Martin back in the car.
Biffle. The list is endless. We'll see what they do.
RC.
Good Lord. Van Grohl, you want to get us?
Could you imagine him hopping in that thing?
Oh man. Van Grohl, you want to get us some race pick standings updates?
Yeah, so kind of a meh week for all of us. Buescher was the shining moment for all of us. Kel, you actually had a decent week this week. Cam, you were in second with Reddick, and I had Byron, which did not do me any good. Race standings as we go here. Cam, you're still in lead at 785. I am in second at 668. Kellen, you're in third at 638. After that one.
Closing the gap a little bit.
I know I had a terrible week in fantasy as well, but we'll let that just go for the time being.
Yeah, how about some race picks for this All-Star race?
Well, I get to go first here. I'm going to take the stupid obvious one here. I'm going to take Larson.
He's too busy.
Hold it off. Was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
Yep. Okay. Cam, we got.
I'm going to go safe bet. I'm going to go Christopher Bell.
Interesting. So I don't think Logano will win it back to back.
There's another Ford car that's usually good at short tracks.
Yeah.
Same camp, but he's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, that motor thing is scary.
Yeah.
Give me, he was your runner-up a year ago. Give me Denny Hamlin.
Taking a short track guy.
Yep. So, well, there's your race picks. There's your race updates, the schedule. Talked a little dirt racing. Next week, we've got another guest lined up for next week. I'm excited for this one. I think it's a unique perspective.
Yep.
It's not a driver. It's not anyone really per se in terms of a series. But it will be a unique perspective in terms of it will literally be a new lens to look through. So we're excited for that. That'll be next week as a part of another special guest on the episode. So as always, as we like to say and do, support your short tracks, support your local racetracks wherever they are at. Should be pretty much open and rocking for the year now. So make sure you get into your racetracks. Again, as always, we love interaction and comments. So if you're seeing this for the first time, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to make sure you know when all of the information comes out. But until then, we'll see you all next week for the next episode of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast.